Hi, everyone. I just bought 2 URLs in my previous video about how to buy a URL. So now I'm going to go and redirect it to show you how to do that. And this is going to be different depending on what service you're using. And I'm using GoDaddy. So we're going to go into GoDaddy. I'm going to show you how to take a URL and tell GoDaddy to send the traffic to a different website, and we'll be all fine. So let's go in and I'm going to show you how to do that. I've just bought this domain, a cake to remember.net. I already own .com, .biz, and .info. And I just do that to kind of cover my bases. I really don't think it's necessary to be as obsessive about this as I am. I own a lot of domain names and I point them at different places and the whole thing, but you don't need to do this as, in the same extent that I do. But it is a good idea to buy different suffixes for your main business name if you can get them, just in case someone else tries to buy it and redirect traffic to their site using your business name. So I've bought .net and GoDaddy is telling me, first it gave me a little screen with lots of confetti. You just bought a new domain name. It's like, yay. All right. So now it's going to say, what do you want to do? Create a coming soon page. So this is if you're going to be building a website on GoDaddy, which I would not recommend. I actually used GoDaddy for a WordPress website. They were hosting my WordPress website I think it was for one of my blogs. It was slow. It wasn't good. And I switched to Cloudways for that. Much better. I will put the link to Cloudways, and I think I have an affiliate link for them because they're so good. I'll put that in the description of this video, and it's just a much better hosting service. And I mentioned this in the previous video. You don't have to have your URLs listed, like registered in the same place that you have your website hosted. And it's usually better to not do that because it's easier to move things around. If you have everything in one place, they have you hostage and they can drag their feet and they won't help you in the whole thing. So I'm not saying that GoDaddy would do that, but I didn't have any trouble switching. But I have heard of some services that really give you a hard time if you try to leave them and you have everything in one place. So the GoDaddy is fine. It's fine to do that. So if you want to link everything, I register all my domains at GoDaddy. I'm not saying that they do that, but just saying, I have heard of other services that do. So what we want to do, I don't need an email address. I have that already. I don't need a custom site. Don't do that. And I don't need a coming soon page because that is kind of linked to this. What I'm going to do is connect it to an existing site, which is my website. Now, I just said don't have your website on the same place as you register it. I do use a GoDaddy template for my e-commerce website. I do not recommend GoDaddy for a website. And I will say that even though I use it, I don't recommend it because it's a different kind of thing. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect this to my website that I already own. Now, if you have just an Etsy shop, you could direct this to your Etsy shop. In fact, let's do that right now. So what's my Etsy shop URL? And this is telling you it needs it in this format. Okay, so we're going to put in HTTPS, and then I don't remember what it was. I think it was just etsy.com/shop/a cake to remember. And that's my shop name on Etsy. And we're going to click next. And I can take this URL and tell GoDaddy, if someone types this in, send them to this site. This may take a few minutes. It usually happens pretty fast. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer for things to catch up. But when a user goes to a cake to remember.net, if they go to the website and they type that into their browser, this is actually the thing. This is where they're going to go. They're going to go to my Etsy shop. Advanced options. You want it permanent redirect? Yes. This is if you're working on something. Just make it a permanent redirect. Forward only. There's forwarding only and forward with masking. If it's forward with masking, then when they go to the website, I think this is right. If I'm wrong about this, clarify it for me in the comments. I'm okay with that. Forward with masking means when they go to Etsy, it's still going to show a cake to remember.net at the top, but I'm not worried about that. So forward only, and we're going to click finish, and then we're going to wait, and I'm going to see how long this actually takes to function. Okay. Now, if you already have your URL pointed to one website and then you actually need to move your website hosting, that's a different process. You have to change things, but usually the hosting company can help you with that, or GoDaddy or whatever your URL registrar can help you with that. I'm not going to go into that because I don't need to change anything and I don't want to mess with that, but I'm going to go in here and type that in here. I've typed it in and now I'm just going to click enter and we'll see what happens. I don't know how fast. Okay. And we're on Etsy. So that's easy. And what you can do then is take your domain name and start using it on your business cards and start using it in your social media. And when people type that in, it will take them to your Etsy shop, but they're using your domain name, and that starts building up a good history with Google for that domain name, because your domain name has a history. I mentioned this in the previous video. It can be blacklisted. So you want people to start using it as soon as you can. And you see it up here, it says shop a cake to remember. That's what I told GoDaddy, send it here. And that's where it's going to go when people type in a cake to remember.net. Now with the masking, I think this would say a cake to remember.net, but I don't need that because they know they're on Etsy right now. So that's not a big deal. This is what you want. You want to start building up the history for your domain name. Now I'm going to go back and change this, and I'll show you how easy it is to change it to a different forwarding so that it actually goes to my website. Now I'm back in GoDaddy, and I found this domain name in all the lists of the domain names that I have. I've clicked on it. I've gone to the editing section, and you want to go into the DNS section and forwarding. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to edit this. And I'm just going to tell it to go to my website instead of going to Etsy. So we're going to have HTTPS. You want to make sure it has that because you want to send them to your secure website. And we're going to do a cake to remember.com. I want to make sure that I'm doing that right. It's permanent. Do I need forward with masking? For this, I will. No, for this, I won't. I want it to be a cake to remember.com. Okay, so we're going to do that, and we're going to do save. And this should happen right away because it doesn't usually take that long. Okay, so now it says that it's going to a cake to remember.com. It says destination. If someone types this in, it should go there. So let's go over and see if that works. All right, so now I'm in a new window, and it was still going to Etsy when I put in a cake to remember.net, because sometimes it takes a little bit to switch over. And let's put in .net and see the Etsy icon is still showing up. It's because they were still, it takes a little time sometimes, but when I click on this, it actually does take me to my website. So all of that will reset. There's memory and all this kind of stuff. You have to clear the cache and all that kind of stuff. I'm not interested in doing that, but this is the kind of thing. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. If you try a new window, which is what I did, sometimes that works, but it will eventually switch over so it's going to the right place. Each registering service, whether it's GoDaddy or whatever else you're using to register your URL, is going to have slightly different interfaces, but they're all pretty easy. And if you have trouble, most of them have video walkthrough tutorials. If you have trouble finding where to do it, it's very fast. It's really important to register a URL. You want to get everything in place so that people can find you. You need to make sure that people can find you. So if you have any questions, post them, and I will talk to you later.